If Jonnu Smith walks, what exactly are we doing here? He was the only one last season who looked like he still remembered what the end zone felt like. 8 touchdowns, 88 catches, almost 900 yards. In a season where Tyreek slowed down, Waddle disappeared half the time, and the whole offense kept looking over its shoulder, Jonnu just showed up, week after week. Didn't complain, didn't flinch. And now, because he wants to be paid like a guy who performed like that, the Dolphins are thinking about sending him off. Trading him? That's the line we're crossing now. And somehow, there are still people wondering if this is a rebuild. Still, as if we didn't already get our answer months ago. The Dolphins don't need to say the word. They already showed us the blueprint. Letting go of veterans, clinging to draft picks like life preservers, not making any major splash signings, and now, moving on from a guy who just broke team records. That's not preparing to compete in 2025. That's hedging everything on some blurry maybe it works out by 2026 vision. That's hoping fans won't notice the empty seats by November. But the real storm's brewing behind all this. If Jonnu's gone, what does that say about Tua? Because they're not just stripping down the roster. They're quietly setting the timer on the quarterback, too. Let's not sugarcoat this. Tua Tagovailoa isn't playing for another contract extension anymore. He's playing for his future as a starter. And no one's saying it out loud, but the Dolphins are treating him like a guy who's already running out of rope. Jonnu was the safety net, the one reliable short yardage option in a scheme that kept overcomplicating simple things. And they're even thinking about pulling that away. Maybe they've already made the decision behind the scenes. Maybe this is less about cap space and more about hitting the reset button, not just on contracts, but on direction, identity, belief. If the front office truly sees Tua as the guy, they sure have a strange way of showing it. And let's talk about that front office for a second. Chris Grier has been running the show since 2016. Do we really need to list all the choices that still haven't aged well? Picking Tua over Herbert, handing out bloated contracts, whiffing on offensive line depth every single year. The 2019 rebuild was supposed to be the clean slate, but instead of building something lasting, Grier patched together moments, highlight reels instead of a foundation. And Mike McDaniel? He's not off the hook either. He came in with charm, with energy, with creativity. But the late season collapses, the inability to adjust when defenses clamp down, the weird rotation of running backs, it piles up. And now, you look around and wonder, who's really in control of the direction? Is there even a direction? That's what makes this Jonnu Smith situation feel bigger than just one player. Because if they trade him, it means they've chosen a path. A long one. A bumpy one. And that probably means McDaniel and Grier are getting at least 2 more years to see it through. Just like Tua. But what if they're wrong? What if it all collapses again in December, just like it always does? Are we really supposed to run it back again in 2026? With the same architects and the same blueprint? Is Stephen Ross watching the same games we are? Ross has been loyal, maybe to a fault. He wants to believe. But at some point, belief has to give way to results. And there haven't been enough of those. Not when you still haven't won a playoff game this century. Not when your best players want out, and your fan base is tired of excuses. There was a window, not long ago, when the Dolphins looked ready to leap. When Tyreek arrived, when Waddle was cooking, when the defense had teeth and Tua looked confident. But the window didn't just close, it slammed. And now you look around and see a team caught between pretending it's still a contender and quietly bracing for something else. And what's the plan if Jonnu goes? Pharaoh Brown? Julian Hill? Tanner Conner? It's almost laughable. Brown can block, sure. But that's it. Hill? Penalties and frustration. Conner can't stay healthy. Hayden Rucci hasn't even played an NFL snap. That's the tight end room you're rolling into camp with? And let's not pretend there's a long list of available replacements out there. Free agency's dry. The draft already passed. So you're either hoping some rookie flashes out of nowhere, or you're fully committing to a downgraded offense. Either way, it smells like a punt. And that's not even getting into the Tyreek situation. He didn't even mention Tua when asked about top quarterbacks. The guy whose stats exploded thanks to Tua didn't bother to drop his name. That's not nothing. That's tension. That's writing on the wall.